There is a large green area in the centre of the village for camping and several lodges to choose from. There is an internet cafe here, but the electricity supply does not always work. There is a bakery in the centre of the village which claims to be the highest in the world, and at nearly 4,000 metres it's easy to believe. The chocolate cakes here are delicious and taste as if they were freshly baked yesterday. The quality in the lodge is a little lower here than in Namche. The dining area is uncomfortable, with a small stove only providing heat to the people sitting directly around it. Most people will eat their food by 7 p.m. and go to bed. The walk from Tengboche to Dingboche starts off gently sloping downhill, but shortly after crossing the river, we head uphill and spend most of the day walking along the river valley. Many people visiting this region of Nepal will only go as far as Tengboche, so from here onwards there are less trekkers, porters and yaks along the path. There are some lovely family-run tea houses to stop in along the way, serving up tasty drinks like hot lemon or yak milk tea. Overall, it is an easy but long day's trekking, with the journey taking up to 6 hours. At this altitude, many people will suffer mild headaches and shortness of breath. The village of Dingboche is located in the Khumbu Valley at an altitude of 4,530 metres. Trekkers will usually spend 2 nights in Dingboche for acclimatisation purposes. The village relies heavily on tourists, with lodges and tenting areas comprising most of Dingboche. The Imja River flows directly east of the village. Most people choose to spend the rest day hanging around the village. There is a bar here with a pool table. Expensive internet cafe and satellite phones are available at a high price if you feel like phoning home. The day starts off with a steep climb up the edge of a hill, providing a great view down into the Khumbu Valley, with Island Peak visible at its end. Most people take a short break here and prepare themselves for the long march ahead. Today's walk could take up to 6 hours or more, depending on how the altitude affects you. As you walk along the side of the valley, if you look down to the left at the base, you can see a small village called Periche. There is a medical centre in Periche where emergencies can be treated. For minor ailments, there is a fixed charge. This charge enables the doctors to be able to treat the locals for free. Most of the walking today is along relatively level ground. There are a few signs of civilization along this route, so if you need to refresh with a drink or some food, do so at the nearest available shop. For the last hour or two, the ground becomes steep and rocky until you reach the small village of Khumbu. Compared to places like Dingboche or Tengboche, there is not really much here. 2 or 3 lodges and a camping area make up Khumbu. The village is quite exposed, and the high winds can cause a lot of dust to blow around the village. Because of this, most trekkers choose to relax indoors. The number of trekkers passing through this village can vary greatly, and it is common for there to be no accommodation available. Guests may be asked to share a room with a stranger or even sleep on the dining room floor. There is no way around this, as the nearest lodge is many hours' walk away. Today we have to walk for a little over 5 kilometres. It does not sound like much, but at this altitude it may take anywhere up to 5 or even 6 hours. There is no clear path and you have to walk over loose rocks, which add to the difficulty. The small village of Gorak Shep is actually the original base camp for climbers heading towards the summit of Everest. The small village is located at the base of a peak called Kala Pathar, which appears as a big brown bump below the impressive south face of Pommery. Many trekkers in the region of Mount Everest will attempt to summit Kala Pathar, since it provides the most accessible point to view Mount Everest from base camp to peak. Due to the structure of Everest, the peak cannot be seen from base camp. The final part of this trek, the 3-hour walk to base camp, is difficult and dangerous. There are several crashed helicopters in the base camp region. Because the air is so thin at this altitude, landing and taking off can be difficult. Unlike the rest of the trek, there is no path to follow here, so it is not recommended to attempt this without an experienced guide. The journey takes us over the Khumbu Glacier, finally ending at the base of the Khumbu icefall. You can say you are at base camp when you are looking up the Khumbu icefall. The icefall is regarded as one of the most dangerous stages of the South Col route to Everest summit. Depending on what time of year it is, you may see the tents of support crews for climbers attempting to summit Everest. The months of April and May being the busiest times at base camp.